Imagine for a moment that darkness isn't just, well, the absence of light, but actually the source of light. Sounds pretty mind-bending, right?
It really does. And that's exactly the kind of cosmic head-scratcher we're diving into today.
Yeah, we're tackling a really foundational piece of writing. We're looking at stanza 3 of The Awakening of Kosmos. It's from H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine.
That's right. And you can think of this as trying to understand the actual blueprints of existence, how things began.
Now, look, this isn't exactly light reading, you know?
Oh, definitely not.
But what we want to do is pull out the core ideas, let's say, the juicy bits that explain how everything got started. We're talking about the universe going from this state of, like, complete rest to sudden, incredible activity.
Cosmic rest to cosmic activity.
Yeah, and how the first differences started appearing and the forces, that shaped everything we actually see.
It's the ultimate origin story, really, but with some quite surprising perspectives.
So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to unpack the key wisdom in this stanza. It can be dense, we know that.
It can. But we'll be using some expert analysis to really shed light on Blavatsky's ideas, especially her views on time, matter, consciousness. They really make you look at reality differently.
Okay, let's jump in then. This first big shift, moving from cosmic rest, pralaya, is that right?
Shalaya, yes. Cosmic rest or dissolution.
To this period of intense activity, Manvantara.
Manvantara, exactly. Yeah. The period of manifestation.
So what triggers this huge universe-scale wake-up call?
Well, the text uses this phrase, the last vibration of the seventh eternity.
The last vibration. Okay, what does seventh eternity mean here?
It's interesting. When they talk about eternity, it's not just one endless line. Theosophy actually makes a distinction. There's like this timeless, absolute eternity kala.
Okay.
And then there's a conditioned, cyclical kind of time kanda kala, which is linked to Mahat or universal intelligence.
So it's like the difference between the concept of always and the cycles of day and night, maybe.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah. This last vibration signals the end of a cosmic night.
And the start of a new day.
Precisely. And this vibration, it's a transition point. Not just for the unmanifested potential that's the first logos, kind of beyond our usual grasp.
Right, beyond time and space as we know it.
Exactly. But it's also the point where the manifested universe begins, where time, actual sequential time, starts to unfold. According to this text, that really kicks in with the third logos.
The logo. These sound important, like a three-step process.
The first logos is, well, it's the pure potential, unformed.
Okay.
The second logos is where you get the first sort of hints of difference appearing. It's like a bridge between that unmanifest potential and the manifest world.
A bridge. I like that.
And then the third logos is where things really start to, take shape, where action and form truly emerge.
Got it. So where does Mahat, this universal intelligence, fit into that three-part picture?
Right, Mahat. This is where it gets really interesting because, well, there are different views. Some traditions see Mahat as being born from something called pradhana.
Pradhana?
Yeah, which is often described as this undifferentiated cosmic substance, almost like the blank canvas of illusion.
Illusion? Okay, is this Maya territory? The idea that our reality isn't quite real.
In that interpretation, yes, it connects to Maya, but Blavatsky makes a really crucial distinction here. She talks about mula prakriti.
Mula prakriti.
Which is the ultimate root substance.
Yeah.
Self-existent, one with the absolute. It's prakriti, it's expression on our world. That's periodic, more fleeting, more illusory, you could say.
Ah, I see.
So in her esoteric view, Mahat isn't born from illusion, but from Nana.
Nana, meaning?
Wisdom.
Or the logos itself.
Okay, wow. So Mahat comes from wisdom, not illusion. That changes things, doesn't it?
Fundamentally. Blavatsky actually identifies Mahat with the third logos. She sees it as the synthesis, the coming together of 7 primary creative forces or rays.
Like a spectrum of potential. Exactly. And this connects Mahat much more closely to Manas, our higher mind, or even Buddhi Manas, the spiritual soul linked with that higher mind, not just some product of basic matter.
Okay. Then the stanza uses this really evocative image. Quote, "The mother swells, expanding from within without, like, the bud of the lotus." What's going on there?
This swelling mother is the universal matrix, the fabric of space itself, sometimes called the waters of space.
Waters of space.
Yeah, and the expansion. It's not like something physically growing outwards from a center point.
Right, how could it? It's already infinite.
Exactly. It's more like the transformation of limitless inner potential subjectivity into limitless outward expression objectivity, a change of condition, a change of state, not size.
Unfolding what's already there.
Yeah.
And the lotus bud analogy.
The lotus is such a powerful symbol here. You know, the entire potential of the plant is in the seed, right? But there's also this idea of its perfect, ideal form existing in what's called the astral light throughout a whole cosmic cycle, a Manvantara. Blavatsky suggests that everything in our physical universe is, in a way, a temporary reflection.
Like a shadow.
Sort of, yes, a shadow of these perfect, eternal ideas or prototypes that exist within divine thought.
So the reality we perceive is like a reflection of these underlying blueprints.
In a sense, yeah. These prototypes exist in divine consciousness and are then mirrored, sometimes imperfectly, even reversed in the astral light. Now, the astral light is considered a lower, more temporary aspect of the eternal akasa.
Akasa.
Think of akasa as infinite divine consciousness. Mahat's influence, while vast, operates within the bounds of Manvantara, whereas akasa is eternal.
And these Manvantaras, the huge cycles activity.
Precisely. Manvantara literally means between two manus.
Okay.
And there are 14 manus in one day of Brahma, which is an unbelievably long time, 1,000 Mahayugas. The word manu itself comes from the root man, meaning to think. So manu personifies divine thought for each cycle.
Like the guiding intelligence for an age.
You could say that. Vivasvata manu, for example, is the manu for our current cycle, representing thinking humanity.
A kind of cosmic architect.
Maybe, yeah. And then there's Fohat. The text introduces Fohat as this dynamic cosmic energy.
Fohat. F-O-H-A-T.
Yes. Fohat is like the agent for the Manus and these other high intelligences, the Dayan Chohans. It's the active power, the force of the divine mind, a reflection of universal mind, synthesizing the 7 creative builders.
So if Mahat is the thought, Fohat is the action, the power.
That's a good way to put it. Imagine Fohat as the universe's electrician and messenger, maybe, taking those divine ideas, those blueprints, and starting to, well, energize them, shape them into reality.
Bringing the blueprints to life.
Exactly. It's described as moving across all the planes, from the most subtle down to our dense physical plane, which, funnily enough, is seen as the peak of illusion in this system.
The peak of illusion. Fascinating. Okay, next up, the stanza talks about a vibrations sweeping along, touching a germ in darkness. What's this initial tremor?
This germ dwelling in solitude and darkness, it often gets compared to the Pythagorean monad.
The monad, the single point.
Yes, that fundamental, undifferentiated essence. In this pre-creation state, it's essentially one with space itself.
Yeah.
The universe here isn't planets and stars yet. It's the formless space that will become their container.
And the vibration? What's that?
That's the point again, the unmanifested logos, the very first stirring of potential within the absolute stillness.
And darkness. We touched on this, but it's not negative here.
Not necessarily. It often signifies the unknown totality, the absolute itself. And what's really key is the perspective. The first logos is light compared to absolute darkness.
Okay.
But it's considered darkness when compared to the later stages, the second and third logoi. It's all relative to the absolute.
Like layers, peeling back different levels of understanding. And it says, this darkness breathes over the slumbering waters of life. That sounds very familiar. Like Genesis.
The parallel is definitely there. Blavatsky actually traces it back to the earlier Brahminical idea of Narayana, the mover on the waters,
Narayana.
who embodies the eternal breath of Parabrahm, the absolute. So the spirit of God moving on the waters in Genesis gets linked here to the third logos, Narayana, acting on the great waters of the deep.
Which symbolize darkness again? Or Parabrahm?
Yes, darkness or Kalahansa Parabrahm in this esoteric view.
And these waters of life, or chaos, we're not talking about literal Aisho, are we?
No, definitely not literal water. In these ancient cosmogonies, water represents matter in its primordial preformed state, like the alchemist's hot and moist principle. You can think of it as a sort of emptiness, but one that's brimming with latent spirit and matter. You can even see echoes of this in the Greek idea of atoms and the void.
Right. Now, the next line is really striking. Darkness radiates light, and light drops one solitary ray into the waters, into the mother deep. That flips our usual thinking completely.
It's a profound statement. The essence of this primordial darkness is absolute light. So even in that unmanifested state, there's this inherent luminosity. And this solitary ray dropping into the mother deep, into chaos, it represents divine thought or intelligence starting the whole process. Impregnating the void, you might say?
Consciousness itself as the creative spark.
That's a very good way to see it. And this ray, while solitary at first, doesn't stay that way in manifestation. Theosophy teaches that although many rays appear on our level, they all come from and return to the one, the monad.
Back to Pythagoras.
Exactly. This monad descends from realms beyond our ken, enters the first stage of being, and sets off this whole unfolding of numbers, geometry, the underlying structure of the cosmos. And yeah, Pythagoras is said to have picked up these ideas in India.
Then we get the virgin egg and the eternal egg. What's the difference? Are they the same?
There's a subtle distinction. The virgin egg is more like the abstract idea of eggness, the potential for becoming before anything actually forms.
Okay, pure potential.
Whereas the non-eternal periodical germ, which becomes the mundane egg, already contains the potential for the whole universe. The eternal egg, on the other hand, is primordial matter when it's completely undifferentiated, the Leia state. Zero potential.
So the virgin egg is abstract potential, the eternal egg is undifferentiated matter, and the mundane egg is the actual start of a cycle.
Roughly, yes. The virgin egg is qualified, somewhat differentiated compared to the absolute Leia state, but still fundamentally abstract.
And this egg symbol pops up everywhere in ancient myths, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The mundane egg is almost universal. It symbolizes that initial abstract form, primordial matter starting to take shape, and often paired with the serpent.
Right, the serpent eternity, wisdom.
Regeneration, self-generation, mirroring cosmic evolution. And the sphere itself, the egg shape, represents infinity, wholeness. Think of that idea of a circle whose center is everywhere, circumference nowhere, that captures the boundlessness.
And the mother lotus from earlier, how does that connect to the egg?
They're linked. The Maitreya Mother Lotus is identified with the eternal egg, waiting for that impulse from the first logos. And the relationship mentioned fire and water, spirit and matter reflects this too. Water as potential fire, the receptive female principle activated by the male creative ray.
Okay, then it says the 3 triangle fall into the 4 quaternary. What's this about numbers and shapes?
In these ancient texts, numbers and geometry are codes, really. Keys to metaphysical principles. It's like in the Kabbalah, you have figures, which can be symbolic blinds, and then sacred numbers, with deeper meanings known only to initiates.
So it's not just math.
No, it's symbolic language. Plato's God geometrizes isn't literal. It points to the inherent patterning in nature, in universal law. It reflects the laws of the divine mind. No randomness here.
So the triangle falling into the quaternary represents specific cosmic principles interacting.
Exactly. And when it says the radiant essence becomes 7 inside, 7 outside, that's of the 7 principles manifesting on our plane, mirrored by 7 unmanifested principles. As above, so below.
Right. Then this really vivid bit, the luminous egg, Hiranyagarbha, curdles and spreads in milk-white curds throughout the depths of mother, the root that grows in the ocean of life. What are we seeing here?
Astronomically, you could maybe see the Milky Way in the primordial world stuff.
The raw material?
Yeah. Symbolically, though, it's much richer. It connects to that myth of churning the ocean, transforming the uniform potential, the root, into differentiated matter within the ocean of life.
And that ocean of life could be the supreme soul or individual life.
It can represent both Paramatma or Jivatma, and these milk-white curds, obviously not dairy.
Right.
In this pre-cosmic state, matter isn't atomic like we think of it. The true occult atom is something else entirely, beyond space and time. These curds are more like the potential for future worlds, star stuff maybe, emerging as cosmic motion stirs things up.
And the churning itself is like intelligence is shaping this stuff.
Yes, the primeval intelligences or occult atoms differentiating the essence. It's an eternal process.
Okay, the stanza goes on. The root remains, the light remains, the curds remain, and still Oahu is one. Who or what is Oahu? Sounds important.
Very important. Oahu is the father, mother of the gods. The fundamental 6 in 1, the septenary root of everything. Even how the name is pronounced in 1, 3, or 7 syllables is said to be significant.
Father, mother.
Show.
This androgynous.
Yes, representing that initial unity before separation. It's linked to the eternal chain of cause and effect, the nidana, and how the cosmos unfolds numerically. The 1 becomes 4, 4 plus 3 makes 7.
So even though you have these distinct things, root, light, curds the underlying unity, Oahu is still there. It's all still one.
Precisely. It underscores the non-separateness of everything. Manifestation's diverse, but the source is single. Oahu is both the rootless root, one with Parabrahmam, and the manifested one life, the living unity in everything.
So the root is pure knowledge. The light is the spiritual spark, and the curds are the first differentiations, maybe the stuff of the Milky Way.
That's a good summary of the interpretation, yes. The potential, the activation, and the initial formation all held within the one.
Then this powerful line, darkness vanished and was no more. It disappeared in its own essence, the body of fire and water, of father and mother.
And again, remember, the essence of darkness is absolute light.
Right. So vanishing isn't literal destruction.
No, it's allegorical. It's the state of the universe during pralaya, cosmic rest, as seen by us finite minds. Fire here is mystical, divine. The absolute deity is dark fire. Light is its first conscious expression.
And fire and water, father and mother.
Divine ray and chaos, spirit and matter. Water as primordial, fluidic, energy potential fire.
It really does flip our usual perspective on light and dark.
Completely. Eastern thought often sees darkness as the true reality, the source. Phenomenal light is the illusion, Maya. Metaphysical darkness is subjective, absolute light. Even Genesis says light came from darkness. John's Gospel too. Light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Here, darkness means the absolute, not ignorance.
Okay. Now I get to the climax, maybe. Behold, the radiant child of the two, bright space, son of dark space, Weohu the younger, the blazing divine dragon of wisdom. This sounds like a major player.
Definitely. Olu the Younger, identified in commentary as Quan Sha Yin, is that ray emerging again at a new dawn, differentiated now, carrying the seed of everything for the new cycle.
Like the divine idea taking form.
Exactly. The generator of light and life for this cosmic day, and blazing dragon of wisdom that connects to the logos, the word, the synthesis of universal wisdom, containing the 7 creative hosts, the essence of manifested wisdom itself. Those who understand this aren't deceived by Maya, the illusion.
And the dragon symbol is so complex, not just a monster.
Not at all originally. It was a primal symbol of divine wisdom, immortality, regeneration. Think Hermes, Moses. They used serpent imagery.
So the dragon is wisdom.
Often, yes. The dragon of wisdom as the one, Ika. There might even be a link to the Hebrew Eked, meaning one in Jehovah's name. So one and dragon are terms for logoi. Esoterically, even Jehovah is linked to the serpent. The dragon can also mean the astral light, the wisdom of chaos. Archaic philosophy didn't see good and evil as fundamental, but as arising from pure light condensing into matter evil. Later interpretations degraded the symbol, but originally it was deeply philosophical. Divine wisdom, perfection, regeneration.
And this Ohu the younger, this dragon, lifts the veil.
Yes, the veil of cosmic illusion, Maya. He separates the above, the noumenal world of pure being, from the below, the phenomenal world of our senses, which is the illusion.
Sets the stage, basically.
Right. Marks the places for the stars, transforms upper space into a sea of fire, that super astral light from the root substance, mula prakriti, becoming astral matter, and the one manifested element becomes the great waters, differentiated cosmic matter. It's the structuring of the cosmos for the new cycle.
This has been wow, an absolutely incredible journey through just one stanza, from cosmic rest to the logoi, Mahat, Fohat, the egg, the numbers, light from darkness. It's a creation story unlike anything else.
It really is. And the thing that keeps coming through, I think, is this deep interconnectedness.
Yeah.
That despite all this complexity, all these forces and forms, it all comes back to one single source. It really challenges our linear view of time, doesn't it? And how we tend to separate spirit and matter.
It absolutely does. So thinking about this, this idea of eternal ideal prototypes behind our reality, how might that change the way you perceive the everyday world around you, just subtly?
That is a fantastic question to ponder, because this deep dive, really, it's just scratching the surface of this one stanza, isn't it?
Just the beginning.
There's such an ocean of this ancient wisdom out there. We really hope this chat has, sparked some curiosity for you to explore these profound ideas even further.